Alright guys, what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be installing a Mk60 ABS unit on my 1998 Dodge Viper GTS. I know that this has been done before, but I don't know that it's been documented on YouTube. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do this, or at least how I did it, and hopefully it should give you some ideas and inspiration to do it yourself. So sit tight and let's get started. One of the first things I thought we should do is go over what a Mk60 unit is, what it's going to do, how it works, and so that's what I want to start with. Is I want to show you what one looks like, and here it is. Here's the Mk60 ABS unit. It's out of an E46 BMW. I'll do my best to explain what each part does, but you've got your valve body here. It's got a bunch of ports on the inside of this, or actually on this side, that this computer right here controls, and it'll send a signal to each brake system, to each brake line, adjusting for different wheel speeds. And so how this thing works is it's actually a standalone unit, so you can transplant this onto any car basically. It does not have to go on an E46 BMW like a lot of them came off of. So it doesn't have to connect or talk to any other system. It doesn't have to talk to any other system. It can, but it doesn't have to talk to like your engine management system or your PCM or anything like that. So each of these ports is either an in or an out. These are the two supply ports from the master cylinder. I believe that this one's the front and this one's the rear, and then each of these ports right here go to different one of the different wheels. So it's got an individual line per wheel. And so what you do is you'd install this on your car, mount it somewhere, then you would run brake lines to each individual wheel if your car isn't already operating a 4-channel system. The Viper actually has a 3-channel system, so what that means is it's got a line going to each of the front wheels, but then it goes to like a proportioning valve for the rear wheels, and then it'll split once it gets to the rear axle. So it's one brake line going to the rear end of the car, then it splits into two, whereas this needs individual lines per wheel. So that's how this thing works. Is it then senses this thing takes a reading from a speed sensor on your wheel hub, or somewhere where there's a tone ring. And a tone ring is basically just a wheel with a bunch of teeth on it, and what this sensor, pretend my finger is a sensor, as this ring rotates, now there are going to be teeth on it, so it's like a gear. As this gear rotates, this sensor picks up the reading on each wheel, and there's 4 of them, and if it senses that one wheel is locking up and not moving, whereas all the other ones are spinning, then it's going to adjust the brake pressure. It's going to lighten the brake pressure to that wheel so that it's not locking that wheel up. And so basically that's what it's going to be doing on each 4 corners, is it's going to be reading the wheel speeds and adjusting them live on the fly. So that's part of what you have to do, is you've got to find a way to mount this. So that's step 1, mounting this. Step 2 would be making brake lines to each 4 corners if you don't already have them, plumbing them to this valve body. Step 3 would be installing tone rings on your car if your car doesn't already have them. So you'd have to figure out a way to mount a tone ring off of a rotating axis. And the reason why I say that sounds funny, is your front wheels are often not driven on a gear. So your front wheels just rotate based on, if you have a rear wheel drive car, a lot of times your front wheels will just rotate from the speed that your rear wheels are generating. So your front wheels, you're gonna need something, say this is like your wheel hub, like on your front, you're gonna need some kind of mechanism that's tied to the rotating axis of the hub. Pretend this is not just a wheel, but a hub. You're gonna need a tone ring somewhere in here on the inside, kind of around this and again, I know this is just a grinding disc, but I'm trying to show you for visual purposes. You're gonna need some kind of gear in here for your tone ring to be rotating with the wheel as your wheel moves. So you need some kind of gear that's gonna rotate with your movement on your wheel. So that's what is that? Step 3. You need some way to mount tone rings. Step 4 would be mounting wheel speed sensors to read the tone ring. So that would be step 4. Step 5 would be mounting a yaw sensor, which I haven't described yet. A yaw sensor is basically, it's a position sensor, so that when you drive your car, if your car starts to rotate, like pretend you're viewing the car from the top side like this, your back end starts to step out. The brake pressure will be adjusted by this unit to help straighten the car, like in a trail braking scenario. So I think that's step 5. Those are big steps, but there's a lot of things to do to make those steps, to accomplish those steps. But those are the main steps that I can think of. Obviously, you've got to wire this up. You've got to wire up a harness to this. And I can show you some of that. I can show you what that looks like, the plug. Oh, here it is. So this would be a wiring harness plug for a Mk60 unit, and so I think there's 41 pin outs, something like that. So you can look up the diagram online, and you can find that, and I'm not going to try and explain wiring. That's not my strength, so rely on other people to walk you through that. But you can also buy a pre-made harness from Doug Wardell. So that's what I'm going to do. And so hopefully you guys can do the same, or if you feel so adventurous, then you can try and figure out a wiring system. And then these are pressure sensor connectors. They hook up to see what pressure is coming to the master cylinder to the brake system from your master cylinder, and then you've got a million different other wires. So yeah, then you've got to wire it, and then I think you just bleed your system. So that should be it. The only other thing I'll add is this thing defaults into an open state. So if you go to install this and you're like, crap, like I'm missing parts, but I need to drive my car, don't worry. Like if you don't wire up power to it, it will default, the solenoids default to an open state. So you can drive your car with this installed, even if it's not wired properly or you have some kind of issue. These default to an open state, so you still get brake pressure to each wheel. So you won't be stranded and not be able to use brakes. So that is the good thing. I think that's everything for now. So let's get started. Okay, so we are starting the process of installing the BMW E46 Mk60 ABS unit. One of the things I'm running into here on the Viper is real estate, and there's not a ton of room to mount it over by the brake system. I've got my catch can. There's a little bit of space down there, but not really. That's going to be really tough to mount something in there. And so outside of cutting this up, I think I'm pretty much left with mounting it over here where my AC used to be. And so I normally have my my inline scavenge filters for the dry sump right here, and I think I'm still going to leave them here. It's just I'm going to have to get creative here. And so that's what I'm working on right now, is a mounting bracket for the pump. The pump is actually kind of heavy. It's heavier than you think. It's probably like at least like 10 pounds on its own. So it needs to be strong. So I've normally got my scavenge filters here, like I was saying a second ago, and my oil filters normally mounted here, so it's going to be hard to change oil after this, but honestly everything I've done so far has just made regular maintenance harder, so why should that stop me? So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to add a bar here that I've already cut. Okay, so I don't know where the video cut out at. My GoPro ran out of battery. But the main thing that I was trying to get across is this is where I need to end up mounting my ABS module. And this is where the AC used to be, the blower motor, and the heater core was over here, but now we've got my dry sump here, and I've got my scavenge filters mounted off of some studs right there, which I'll probably tie into right in here. I'll probably put another hole right here and bring a stud out, and then bring a bracket up and then space it off of that, and then mount the ABS module out here. So that's kind of what we're doing. Okay guys, it has been a lot of trial and error since I last started filming. I'll try my best to catch you up. Where's my pump? The pump is over here somewhere. So some people recommend, actually a lot of people recommend, that you mount this with some isolators. And the problem that I was running into is there are 3 mounting holes on the bottom, 1 on this left side of the pump, and none on the top, and none on the right side of the pump. And so when I used these rubber isolators, they definitely had plenty of deflection and movement in them, which was good. It wasn't super stiff, but it flexed too much to where it was wobbling, and I should have a phone video that I could show you. So so this bracket that I had made up wasn't gonna work, and these mounts are likely not gonna work. They just have too much flex in them. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to show you there. I would have to remount everything, which you know what, maybe I'll just do that real quick. Okay, so just to show you what I was running into, these are M6 by 1 threads. If you go to do this yourself, just know that when you're ordering hardware, and you'll just want to be aware of that. And then the studs actually bottom out in the pump body before you run out of thread. So I actually had to cut them off with a little with some hacksaws. So that's what I did. So if I were to take this nut off, if I were to throw these bad boys in there, it seems like it holds it really well, and it's real firm when I bolt it up to the car. But let's see if it, I know it's not bolted here. Let me put a nut on this real quick and show you. So like, if this thing is real stiff, the pump still wants to move a good bit just based on the rubber piece, which the bracket's not moving much in my hand, but the pump's moving a lot. And so that was just more than I was comfortable. You definitely can't mount hard brake lines like copper nickel or stainless steel. You can't use those types of lines when you're doing this and you had a ton of movement like that. I'm probably going to use flexible brake lines anyway, but that was not going to be a solution. So let me show you what I plan on doing, or what I have done. Is I ended up cutting up some angle iron, and yeah, this place is a mess right now, but basically what I'm going to do is I'll I'll borrow some of the holes off of the little firewall piece right here where I mount my my brackets that hold the dry sump. I'll space that out because it already needs to be spaced out for the two brackets to be even. But what I'll do is I'll space those out and I'll run the studs through like I've done before. I'll drill some holes in this piece right here, and then I'll weld another piece off over here so that the pump can sit flat on top, and I'll isolate this bracket using using these little threaded bumpers. And so this stud will run through, and then it'll run through right there, and then let me see if I can mount this so that you can see it and I can have two hands. So it'll be like that, and then this plate will mount up against it, and then the pump will sit on top of that. It'll just rest and it'll bolt directly to the metal, which a lot of people have told me that that's okay to just mount it straight to metal with no isolation, but I want some, so I'm gonna have isolators in between the firewall right here and this angle iron. So I'll cut this up, drill some holes, and then drill some holes for mounting the the pump to that plate. Okay, all right, we are back in the reassembly phase. I have got my upper dry sump bracket mounted. I've got a plate back here to kind of be the I guess backbone of my angle iron that I'll put on. This isn't the one, but this is just to give you an idea. I've got a flat end of this on the inside to sandwich it together. So then I've got some studs that I ran through, or bolts really, and then I threaded on my isolators. That was a little more work than I expected it to be. You really have to work to pass the bolt through the rubber. So that was a little more work, but it's okay if you've got a wrench. And obviously I've got my my scavenge filters already set on there, so it's ready to go. And then here's my bracket. I just painted it, and I was running my heat gun over it to try and dry some of this paint real quick. I finished this bracket and I painted it and it was dry, and then I noticed that on the underside of the bracket, which is the part you're looking at, that there were just a couple parts that I didn't grind. I really didn't grind any of the bottom. As you can see, the weld's kind of boogery, but yeah, I wanted to make sure that I didn't go through the process of mounting all this, and then this centerpiece that's kind of trying to tie everything together. I didn't want the welds to prevent a bolt from tightening down, because if you'll remember, this pump is made of aluminum, so you can't torque bolts super tight into aluminum. You might damage the thread, so you've really got to be careful. I've actually got some aluminum bolts on the way. They're not here yet, but that's okay. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and mount all this up, and then I'll change out the bolts later on. And so I'm kind of tired of waiting. I know this thing's pretty hot, but and sticky, but kind of just want to show y'all what it looks like. Yeah, so that's what it'll look like. Obviously it's not the prettiest. I'm not like a professional welder. I'm pretty terrible at it actually, but and then the pump will sit on top of that. So then the washer on. A nut. That one is 1/4-20. I think that's what this is. Yep. So that's bringing the bracket up on that side. Grab a little washer. And a 6 nut. I've actually got some lock nuts that I may end up using on there. We'll see. Maybe I'll just use some blue Loctite or something. There it is. They're not the same bolt threads, so that's why I've got to stop and switch, because I wasn't sure if I was going to have to use M6 to thread directly into the body of the pump. Look, I mean, that thing's not going, that's pretty sturdy. So, so that mount is real sturdy, but you've still got the isolation from these rubber mounts. And what I may actually do is I may even put like some insulation on the underside of the bracket on both sides. Maybe that way it'll protect the pump a little more from some heat. So that's kind of what I'm envisioning for this. Not pretty, but I think it's gonna get the job done. And I've already test fitted my oil filter. It's still gonna be, I'll still be able to change my filter as needed. So that was why I cut that provision out right there. Yeah, I could have probably made it prettier, but that was what I was doing there. And so still have room to change our oil. But yeah, so let's toss the pump on there real quick, just so you can kind of get a feel for what this is gonna look like. Get these off. Again, these were the rubber isolators I was talking about that had too much flex in them for my liking. So we'll yank these off. Okay, and then just thread one of these in. Probably not a great camera angle, but let me see if I can do it off the wheel. Well, it's probably not gonna be any good either. Well, let's see if I can do this one-handed. Here. All right. I'm just gonna have to put y'all down for a second. This. I'm having trouble threading this in. This may be a harbinger of things to come. And as I say that, I get it threaded in. So yeah, I got a bolt in there now. So you see, like, that's not going anywhere. That thing's sturdy. I've only got one bolt in, it's not even tight, and it's not wanting to move much. So yeah, that's gonna work real well. Like, it's just gonna sit flat on there. It's gonna be real supported. It's not gonna catch things coming through here like rubber. So it's gonna leave me some good room. So yeah, I think now what I can do is I can measure my lines to each corner and from the master cylinder over, and then I can order those brake lines and start working on the next piece of the project. Okay guys, you don't know this because it's obviously being edited, but I ran into a hiccup with the type of brake line I was using. It was not flaring properly at all. even though I'm using the proper tool. No, this is not the cheap Amazon tool. I've had a million people say that online when flaring, and that my dies were bad, all sorts of dumb stuff like that. It was just using the right kind of brake line, and this is the right kind of brake line. Use this from SUR&R. This is the good stuff. It flared perfectly every time. I did a practice one immediately after getting the tubing in. I don't know if I have that piece still. I don't see it. But it worked flawlessly the first time, and then I've flared both an inverted flare, the double flare and a bubble flare, and they've worked perfectly. So I'm sorry I skipped this step for you. I'm trying to make an all-encompassing video so you can see that I've already made a line and it's running down, and I'll show you where that ends up, or where it's gonna end up. It's not done, but so I ran it down the length of the car, brought it by the transmission up there. That's the intake manifold, the red piece you can see back there. And so gosh, where is it? It's kind of hidden. I guess you can't really see it. Maybe like you can see it when I stick the GoPro up there. It's riding right along the transmission. I've got it up here along the wiring loom. Sorry, I know I keep saying here, and the GoPros, so I got it tucked up here by the wiring loom. This one's the new line this is the second line that I'm running. But this first line goes up and over the diff back here. So you can see that line right here, this upper one. That one's going back here, up and over the diff, and then it makes a right turn, and I've got my flare. Obviously, you don't forget to put your nut on, and I'll have a union right here, and then I'll make a little connecting fitting from the the frame mount to the 3AN connection, but I'll do a union right here, and I'll join those together. So that's the first line that I ran. Now that I've got the correct brake lines, it's been so much easier. So now I'm running the second line, and I'm trying to measure out the appropriate length to skip this fitting altogether, this split block, because what this is doing is it's taking a 3-channel braking system that the Viper has and splitting it between the rear. So there's one line going to the rear and there's 2 individual lines to the front, whereas the BMW needs a 4-channel system. So that's why I'm having to run an additional line, and I'm skipping this fitting because I don't need it to split anywhere, and then I need to come in here and connect it with that fitting right here. So what I'm probably gonna do is I'll probably bring this line and turn right up in here where the exhaust used to go, come up and over and make a little turn and connect right there. Or I'll come in here on the inside and make a right turn around. So I'll probably end up doing that because I can reach that easier. I was trying to stay as far away from the half shaft as possible, but I think I'll be just as close doing it that way. So I'll probably just come in here, come up and around the frame point right there, and then connect into this block up here, and then that'll be the rear. So I'm just trying to measure the appropriate length. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take this line off. I'm going to go ahead and flare it for the standard double flare, and then measure how much length I need here, or to connect it to over here, and then I'll know how much to cut off up top. That's what I'm likely going to have to do. So yeah, or maybe I'll make a line. Maybe I'll make a junction back in here and make one line that kind of flows with this. Like I'll make a U shape and come on back, and we'll connect in here so that I've got a different disconnect point. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. Okay, all right, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna make our brake line flares, because I've mapped out exactly where I want my, well, I shouldn't say exactly. I've mapped out where I want my brake line to route. I'm worried about this 90-degree bend that I didn't leave myself enough room for it, but we're gonna see. So just a reminder, as we're making brake flares, you need your die, the one you want that you're making facing towards the press, or the fittings on the press. And I'm making a din flare because these are the bubble flares. This is the bubble flare side. Obviously, I'm reminding you to put your nut on first, which this one, the one that I'm doing, is an M12. So I'm putting that fitting on first. Oh, I do need to deburr it real quick. So let me do that. All right. So now that it's deburred, hopefully I left myself enough. Oh shoot, I may not have. Ugh, this is my problem. Is I bent my brake line. I did a 90 in my brake line. Oh man, this is frustrating. I did a 90 in my brake line on the car because I needed it to fit real tight in so that the hood would close. And now, golly, this is where you probably want a tubing straightener. Now I can't get the tube nut far enough down here because I undid my bend. Let's see if I can just get it past. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is bad. This sucks. Oh, this sucks. I can't get it on far enough to do the... Oh, it's so close. I just need it to go a little farther. Okay, alright, hey, that went. Alright. Alright, so that's one thing, is you don't want to do too many bends until you're absolutely sure you've got things where you need it to be. So, you close the press, you've got it kind of loose. I'm going to get this just slightly snug to where it's holding it, and then what you do is you set it on operation 0, which all that does is it just sets the depth. It's just setting the depth to the correct point so that when you go to make your flare, it's making it at the appropriate point. So then you move it to the din setting, first one, because that's where the that's what the bubble flare is, and then you press, release, get a turn, pull that out, and then it falls off, and then you get perfect bubble flare. Again, this line is so good. This line is so good, it doesn't have any issues making the flare. So we'll do the same thing over here. We'll, although this one is not a bubble flare side, we're gonna do the 45-degree, and we'll do some double inverted flares. That's what we're gonna do over here. So let me deburr it. Really wish I could turn my music up right now. It's good. It's good stuff. Alright, and then putting the nut on. When you make the brake lines, you'll forget that a time or two. You'll feel like a complete idiot. Okay, 45, 45, same size. Alright, 45. Check that, make sure I didn't swap them by mistake. All right, let's get it kind of tight. We'll do operation 0. Tighten it down so it doesn't do any movement. That's the main reason you tighten it down so much, is so that it doesn't press the line out, that it's just making the flare. So then you turn to operation 1 for 3/16 line, which is what I'm using. All right, that's the first piece, and then it's kind of like a bubble flare almost. Then you go to operation 2 for 3/16 line, and this is what makes the double inverted flare. And that bottoms out a lot earlier than the first time. So don't feel like you got to press on that second one quite as hard. It's not. It doesn't need it. So then you got a perfect double inverted flare. All right, this is likely where I'm going to have an issue. I'm going to route my line. I really struggle with this location. Like, I like where I've got my ABS location, but man, it has been hard to get the brake line piece done. Let me go down and make sure I feed that through correctly. Really need to like turn it. This is really what I need. I'm gonna set that up there. I'm actually gonna rest it on my camera for a second. Let's see if I can do that. Let me do that. Ugh. So now we're in the vicinity, as you can hopefully see. I know it's probably a little turned, and I'm sorry I can't have a perfect camera angle every time, but yeah. So now, like, we're in the general vicinity. I can squeeze that down. They're close. I just need to route this line up and bend it over and down into that tube. Now, I already did it once, which I needed to do to make sure I could get a tight enough bend out of it, but now I've got to do it for the final time. So let's see if we can do that. And this, I'm trying to be real careful with it because you don't want super tight bends that pinch. So I'm trying to get enough lift out of it. And I'm trying to hit this back hole, this one that says HL. All right. Kind of in the ballpark right there. Come in some more. I really need it to start coming up, which is the hard part. And then I need it to come in and down. Just don't know exactly how tight to do this part. And I may have done it too tight. I may have. I'm not trying to gash this line up a ton, but I also need room to bend this. Really need something holding that there is what I need. I need it to make a bend like right in there of like almost 90 degrees is really what I need. Let's see if I can figure this out. Let's go through that first. Line. Is that too much of an angle? That was crummy. Need this to be a little tighter. I'm trying not to oh man, that may be too high. That's the problem. You gotta flare this thing in. Maybe I can bend this part a little bit so that it gets a little bit more of a downward angle. Make sure it's not gonna. All right, guys, I have my front left brake line started being routed. Here you can see the line's loose right here. It goes to this port up front, and so that I've got that bent for that. Probably have to bend it a little bit more, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have to junction this a couple times. There's a lot of stuff going on right here that's gonna be very difficult to run a single or even a double line through, and I really want to stay as far away from the headers as possible. I thought about coming down the back side of the engine over here, but I would just have to come too close to the headers, or I would have the brake line exposed to stuff from the road, so I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to cut the line right here and junction it, and then I'll junction it again right here and send it down to that corner, and I think that'll be the easiest way for me to do this. So now what I can do is I can flare this, add a nut, flare that side, and route it and bend it to 90 to have this connecting piece. Then this is from the crappy copper nickel line, and so I was just practicing how I was gonna do this. I'll make this line and run it up here, and I'll come up here and do a 90, and then we'll form a piece that connects the two, is how we're gonna do this. Okay, all right, we are going to deburr this brake line and then flare it, and that'll be the first part of our front left brake line. That is the last, well, big part of the brake lines to run. Not this piece in particular, but the last one that I've done nothing on, I guess is what I should say. Hey, you gotta find the positives, because all too often you'll see negatives, or only negatives, and boy does that get old. All right, so this side is a bubble flare because this is the side that connects to the pump. So I'm putting my tube nut on. I've got my DIN, D-I-N, mandrel in there. Let me find a way to position this so that it's not, I'll just hold it. Okay. Got the marking, line it up with the marking. You look on the front, they both say DIN. Put that in, close it up. All right. Then this is where I wish I had 3 hands. So now we just do this one setting. That's it. We don't do the multiple. And there, that. That side is flared. Nice bubble flare. Okay, so now we will do our 45-degree double inverted flare. So it'll line up like this. 45-degree double inverted flare, operation 0. Let me grab a tube nut. All right. It's tight, not going anywhere. All right, operation 1 for 3/16, and then operation 2 for 3/16. And then yet another perfect bubble flare. I can't say enough about this brake line. It is so much easier to work with. You couldn't even use the other stuff. So, all right, then I'll go. I don't like, and I hope I don't end up editing this as I say this, but I like to film like start to finish stuff, because so many things on YouTube end up leaving stuff out, and then you're left wondering what to do with the rest of not with the rest of, but you're left wondering what to do when you don't when you miss it like a little bit of a step. And so it's easy to like miss those things. Let me see if I can get this underneath this line over here, because That'd be real nice. Which it's okay. It doesn't have to be underneath it because I've got to change this pump out anyway because of my my issue cross threading earlier on. It looks like I can still put it in anyway. See if removing my flex lines gives me any better room. This is like way more difficult than I thought it would be. Golly, man. At all. There we go. Man, that was difficult. Well, I don't know if y'all saw that, but man, I was struggling to thread this in, but once I got this line underneath this one, it went right in. Man. Okay, now that side's partially done, connected at least. And then, oh, sorry. My workspace. And then what I'll end up doing is I'll like end up 90ing this, like I'll just bend it by hand and spin it in maybe like either right around the cowl mount, maybe in here, so that it's in a direct line. That's probably what I'll do. I'll probably bend it like right here and try and send it along this pathway right here, and then we'll connect in. So I'm actually gonna leave it for now unconnected, and then I'll make this line and bring it up, and then I'll have a line that connects the two. So yeah. All right, I've got another one of the front right brake lines routed, and so man, I still wish there were more over here. Honestly, everyone would always feel like that. Okay, so where's a good place to put y'all? Like, this is what I'm trying to route to. I've got my line made right here, and I am routing it around the steering linkage. That's really the best place I can find, so I've got to bend it a little bit to get it a little farther away, just for peace of mind. I'm probably going to have to put y'all down because it's going to be really hard to clip y'all somewhere where you can see this decently. I mean, yeah, I don't think that there's a good spot, so I'm going to put y'all down, I'm going to bend this line and then get it done. Alright guys, so this is a pump from a BMW 330, an E46, and it should have the exact same valve body that my M3 E46 817 unit had on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the valve body off of this one, and then I'll use it to replace my damaged threads. Or I'll use it to fix my damaged threads issue. So let me take those off. These are those star-shaped bits. That one's too big. Yeah, that one's the right one.
Meta says he had requested, had a bad sinus infection after the Watkins Glen race and requested medical assistance and a shot. And that's the only thing anybody has said about
Really?
anything that's been wrong with him recently.
I did see that he was sick after the race.
That was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, because he raced in the All-Star race.
Yeah.
Alright, that's not the one I want. Whoa! Well, I need the rest of this to come off. There we go. Well, this thing doesn't want. Whoa.
A strong magnet.
Yeah, sure is. Alright, so then what I'd do is I'd put this bad boy back in. Probably goes like that because it's got to go through the same holes. Come on. Alright, that's a good first sign. And then let's get this bad boy in here. Alright. I don't remember which bolt went in which hole though.
Oh boy.
But, well, it's gotta be this one then. What do you say, oh boy, there's only two options. Position it better so you guys can see.
Is there only 2 bolts? Oh,
Yeah,
you're recording.
yeah, that's okay. I'll just mute you. I'll show y'all.
So where are these other 2 come from?
Those are from the first one I took apart.
Okay.
Or my first one that I took, because I took mine apart to swap this one on, and then it wasn't the right one, so I had to order this one online. I made an offer to a guy on eBay for 80 bucks and he took it.
that a 20 torque?
Something like that. T25.
25.
Okay, and then I'll get some wrenches to get those off. Too big. That looks a little too big. Are they all 11? No. That's, they are. Let me try a soft one. Yep. Yep. And then this one's probably, oh, they all fit. That's weird. Oh, the tube nut's gonna be the same. It's just the threads are not the same. That's what it is. Some of these are M12, some of them are M10. See, those are all bubble flares, because this is a bubble flare. This is the BMW uses the DIN flaring techniques. So all of my flares going into this thing have to be bubble, and then all my other flares on the Viper have to be the inverted. Okay, so now come over here. Nice, if that would stay on its own. This is that bracket I was complaining to y'all about at first. This isn't the first trial run, this is the one that this is my second attempt at it.
So how did you find out this one wasn't going to work?
Dadgummit.
You got a magnet?
Yeah, I do, but I dropped the lock washer. Will you grab my flashlight from the crate over there? How did I find out mine wasn't going to work?
Yeah.
Well, when I cross-threaded the port, when I was putting one of my brake lines in, there wasn't anything wrong with what I originally bought. It was just that the thread's stripped because it's made of, oh, there it is. It's just the thread's stripped because it's made of aluminum. And so if you're not like perfect, you can cross-thread them real easily. I'm good. I know where it is now. But yeah, I had to make all this keeping in mind that I've got to still be able to change my oil filter, service my exhaust, and so that was part of why this took so long, because I had to think through all of that and make sure I mounted things in ways that they were still serviceable.
That's pretty good, because a lot of engineers don't even do that.
Oh, man, this thing is, there it is. I'll mute that part out so Chad doesn't hear it. Alright, and then that, I should just get a flare wrench. That one is going to be metric. It's probably a 10. Yep. Okay, it's already loose. Yeah, I mocked this thing up the other day so I could remake this brake line. That was what I was telling you, is I needed to remake it so that it wasn't gonna impede me from servicing the exhaust. Alright, so now hopefully I'm mounting this for one of the last times. Let me see if I can get that. Okay. Will you just kind of like hold some of these up? Well, I guess they'll. Yeah, thank you. And then I'll get those in place. Oh man, now this thing doesn't want to move enough for me to. That should be enough. So I can get these in. Oops. Come on. There are two like little dimples, and I can't even remember which one's the one with the threads and which one's. There we go. There's one. First, I'll take the light from you. Can't wait to be able to put a split unit in here and get this thing actually cool.
I was going to say, just getting ready to say that that's working pretty well.
I'm sweating. There you go. Alright, that one started. Man, this is going to be exciting if this is the last time I'm putting this in. Which it won't be, because I just said that. I've had this thing in and out so many times. It's blind, I can't see the... Should have started with this one actually. I'll take this one out so that I can really move it around. If you wanted to start mocking up that rear wheel speed sensor, you could. You don't want to do that?
I don't have a clue what you're talking about, knocking it up.
Well, take a gander at how I've got the one on the right rear. All I need is it shimmed to be real close to the tone ring.
So this side is done, the other side isn't? Is that
Correct.
what you're
Yeah,
saying?
that side's done right there. Man, I am pumping a football here. I've got to put this last bolt in first because this is a disaster. All right.
So you welded this little plate to it,
Yep.
and drill a hole in it.
Yep.
I'm not supposed to do that.
There's one on the other side. All you got to do is put the sensor in and put a couple shims in between the sensor and the bracket to where it's really, really close to the tone ring. You see what I'm talking about?
I don't have a light, so
All right.
it's hard to see.
Well, I can give you mine.
And these aren't your shims, are they?
No, those are like
Yeah, those are
gauges.
measurements.
Yeah, that was what I was using to see how much gap I had.
Space you had.
You want this? You can hop on the creeper and look. It's going to give you a better viewpoint.
Oh, so you just put washers in there,
Yeah.
so it's a matter of knowing how many washers you. Is that right?
Yeah, I need a bunch of washers put in, or 3 or 4 or however many to get it real close to that tone ring, but not touching it.
Okay, you can get this really thin one in between there.
All right. Now we'll look at Man, I'm getting so many texts and messages about Kyle Busch. It's crazy. Let's see what the orientation is. Where is it? Where is it? Okay. Alright. Number 1 and number 2 are for the front lines for the master cylinder. So that's what these two are. Okay, so again, be super careful threading these in so that you don't need new ones. Alright, those are in. Front and rear lines, we're good. Okay, alright. And what's next? Okay. Number 3 is for the front left brake line. Number 3 is for the front left. So this is number 3. This is number 3, and that's the front left. There we go. All right. Alright, 3, front left. Number 6 is what? Number 6 is the right rear. Number 6 is the right rear. Right rear. So let's get this bad boy in there. Is it making sense what I was asking you?
Yeah.
Alright.
Just don't know where the bracket is.
Did I not put it on the car yet?
No.
You sure? Oh no, here it is. Alright. You can install that too. Just take your caps on that off and then this lower bolt. Told you I had plenty of things to do. It's a long list. Okay. Number 6 and number 3, number 1 and number 2, number 4 and number 5. So number 4 is this one. Number 4 is this one. Is the rear left. Number 4 is the rear left. That's this one. Which means that this one goes right here. Alright. So that was number 5. That was the front right, and that's right. So number 4, the only one left is this one. And looks like oh, you have to come underneath this one. Okay, that is almost done. That's very encouraging. So this is that one. This. All right, that line is connected. Right. What you looking for?
Well, the bulb and the washer that go in there, the little one.
To go into what? The sensor?
To hold the sensor on
Okay, yeah, over here. I've got hardware over here.
the washer.
Yeah. Those are my.
Okay, I'm gonna go get it and see which one fits.
Need to. The reason why I'm rerouting this is because I don't want stuff hanging over the oil filter that is going to be hard to service. So I want something that's not going to be in the way when I go to do that. So. Looks like I'm going to be doing that no matter what.
Did you use a lock nut on one?
I didn't, but it's probably like a good idea. I just was mocking it up to see if it was the right. Those will fit.
Yeah, those will fit. Just
So if you want to just mock it up, that's fine. Because I don't know if I have a lock washer in quarter 20. That's what that is. That's what those bolts are, quarter 20. Those could be quarter 20. I don't know. Try it.
yeah.
Okay. Actually, it's actually better the other way. I should probably stop taking this off so many times. Yeah, be careful. I'm gonna screw this up. There we go. Okay, all right. Should come underneath that. That was dumb. So now it's just one more thing to rub on. Ugh. All right, well, whatever. Just finish up. All right, I think I'm at the point where I need to start disconnecting brake lines. So I might as well go ahead and rebuild those calipers. All right, guys, I've got my brake calipers rebuilt and reinstalled on the car. Got my banjo fittings connected with new copper crush washers. So that part is done. The next thing is to finish connecting and tightening all my brake lines. This one is going to be to the front line on the master cylinder. This one is going to be the rear. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect this 3AN adapter to the outlet of my proportioning valve so that I can still have dial down the brake pressure to the rear for the bias. And so that's what I'm going to do next. All right, I've got my rear line hooked up, or my supply line going to my ABS pump. I've got the rear hooked up, and now I just got to run the front line. And so I've disconnected, or I've loosened my front line from my master cylinder, and I'm gonna finish taking it out real quick. My GoPro keeps dying, otherwise you guys would get a little bit more consistent footage. You really want to use line wrenches when you operate with these things. I shouldn't say operate, but like, you really don't want to try and skimp and use regular wrenches. I have rounded off fittings before by not using line wrenches, and it is just a world of hurt if you do that. So you really don't want to take that risk. Get this fitting in. There we go. All right. Let's see if I can bend this one a little way. I don't want to destroy it because I want to be able to use it if I need it. So now it's out of the way. Let me get my correct fitting. Not look like the same thing. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Dang it. Maybe I should have ordered an extra one of those. Well, now what? I need something that'll thread into that. Oh boy, oh I'm in trouble because I don't have the right fitting right here. This looks like it's a regular dash 3AN to 3/8 by 24 like these. I don't know why the internet said that that was a different size fitting because it doesn't look like it is. So I'm in deep doo-doo right now. Bubble fitting. Dadgummit. Golly.